Yes, we are looking at the example of cross elasticity of cross price elasticity of demand or cross elasticity of demand, and we, as you can see, our statement here, the price of X increased from 1,000 to 1,200. When that one happened, the quantity demanded of Y, this is another commodity, changed from 200 units to 240 units per week. Whatever quantity, commodity this one was, it increased from this to this. Calculate the price elasticity of demand. Now, what we can see here is that the price of X went up from this to this. Now, since it went up, it forced the demand of another commodity to increase from 200 to 240. So now we come to calculate the price elasticity of demand. That's what we are doing. So what do we start with? We say price elasticity of demand is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded of Y, because that is the Y, over percentage change in the price of X. That's what we have as our formula. Sometimes this formula, as I said, it can be presented as we present it as change in a quantity demanded of Y over change in the price of X times P over P X over Q Y. So this is change. This triangle, we said it is indicating change. So this one, we develop this formula. They are the same, you can use this one, but it will definitely push you to this level. So if we go by this, what do we do? What we are going to do is to get 240, this will equal to 240 of minus 200 over, we look at now the price, what has been the change in the price. The change in the price has been 1,200 minus 1,000. This one, we multiply it by 1,000 over 200. 1,000 over 200 is 1,000. This is 1,000. 1,000 over 200, and that is what we call the change in the price. So this one, we move to that level, and after moving to that level, that one, this is multiplication. What we do is now to see how we solve this one. So it becomes 40 over 200 times 1,000 over 200. That's what you are going to get. And what do you get at the end of the day? All this will equal to 1. If you multiply it, or if you cancel it out, if we cancel out, if we calculate this, you are going to get this. You cancel out this and this, so you are going to get 40 over 40. So you're going to get 40 over 40. After cancelling out those, you're going to get 40 over 40, which is going to give you 1. Now, since it is the price cross price elasticity of demand, this one, we start with this one. I'd forgotten to put there the x. So, since it is 1, we have to now conclude that x and y. So we conclude, if they say the relationship, in this case, the relationship between y and x is that the relationship between x and y is both are substitutes. Both are substitutes. That is the relationship. Both are substitutes. These commodities, these two commodities are substitutes. That is the relationship which these two commodities have. How do we conclude to this conclusion? How do we come to this conclusion? We come to that one because the figure we have got is a positive figure. Irrespective of the size of the figure, even if it is 2, even if it is 5, even if it is a 10 point something, as long as it is positive, it shows that they are substitutes. It means that the moment you increase the price of one commodity without touching the price of the other commodity, you are going to see people leaving the one whose price has increased, moving to another commodity whose price has not changed. That means it is a substitute. Now, even from observation here, if they say the price of X increased from this to this, we are seeing an increase. What has happened to the other commodity? It rose from 200 units to 240 units. An implication that people ran away from this product X and started consuming product Y. Why did they do that? Because the price had gone up for X, and these are substitutes. If you don't use this, you use this. And that's what happens in the market. We normally look at these commodities, meaning that if you have substitutes, better know the consumer behavior in the market. He's going to abandon your product whose price has gone up and it goes to that product whose price has not changed. Even the other side, the other side of the coin applies. If the price of X reduced from 1,200 to 1,000, and the demand for Y reduced from 200 to 240 to 200, the answer you calculate will still be the same. It will still give you positive. Why? When this one went down, this one went up. I mean, this one went, when this price went down, people, when the price of X reduced, the quantity demanded of Y had to decrease from 240 to 200. Where did these people go who were consuming the 40? They ran to the alternative commodity, that is the substitute, whose price had gone down. Because the price of Y did not change. We have not talked about the change in the price of Y, but we are seeing the quantity changing. Why is it changing? Why is it reducing from 240 to 200? Because the price of X, which is a substitute, has been reduced. So these ones who have been consuming this product, they will say, why should we remain here where price has not changed and the substitute, the price has gone down? So they all run to the substitute. And So, whichever way, what we mainly look at is that after calculating the change with the substitute, one goes down, another one, the demand goes up, and the opposite. One, you reduce the price, they will move to the opposite side. So that one will give you a positive figure. Positive figure, once again, we say the moment you get it, you know these are substitutes. So that is example number 1. Now we look at the other side. I've looked at this side. Now we look at the other side of the coin. We are now looking at example 2. And the example 2, which we are going to have, is a fall in the price of commodity Y from 500 shillings to 450 shillings, resulted into a change in the demand for commodity X. Commodity X from 100 to 120 kilograms. Highlight, these are kilograms per week. Calculate the gross price, or you can say calculate the gross elasticity of demand. Yes, that is where we are. We note what are we calculating for? We underline Y and X, and also underline the figures as they change. These are important areas that we are looking at. There was a price fall from 500 shillings to 450. The moment this one got a reduction or a fall, this resulted into a change in the demand for commodity X from 100 to 120 kilograms of that product. So we are seeing price falling, demand increasing. Price is falling for this commodity, one commodity. When the price fell and the demand increased, it means what? It means that these commodities, this one, the moment you reduce this one, there will be a change in the demand of another commodity, which is X. So we go into our calculation, and as usual, we begin with our formula. And we say gross price elasticity of demand is equal to change in quantity of X over change in price of Y times PY over QX, which is, in our case here, let's write all these figures: 120 minus 100 over 450 minus 500. And this one, we multiply it by 500 over 100. Then from there we go to 20 over 50, that is negative 50, times 500 over 100. And this is going to give you a 2. And which 2? Negative 2. Going to give you negative 2 as the final answer. So what are we seeing here? This is the formula for cross price elasticity of demand. This is the formula, and here we are substituting the formula. This is the formula. We are looking at the change in a quantity demanded of X. That is 120. To move it from 120 to 100. Minus, over 450. Because you are looking at the change. When you are looking at the change, you get the new figure minus the original figure. So even here, we are looking at the new figure minus the original figure. Even in the same thing we do here on price, we move away from, we get the 450, which is the new figure, minus the 500, the original figure. Now, you are going to ask yourself, in the original formula we gave, we said it is the percentage change in a quantity demanded of X over percentage change in price of Y. Where is this percentage? At this very level, we cross out this and we remain with this formula. So we only look at the change after removing the 100 or the percentage. So don't get questions in your head and say, where is our percentage? We cross it out because it is both on the numerator and denominator. So we have to cross it out and we calculate it as this. So change is here times this. This is going to give you 20 over negative 50. That's what we get here. When we look at only this one, it is going to give us this. When you calculate this, you are going to get 20, which is here. 450 minus 500, you are going to get negative 50, times the 500 over 100. When you calculate this, if you calculate this, you multiply this and divide, you are going to get that negative 2. Now, when you get negative 2, this means that this implies that commodities X and Y are complementary. I prefer using that are complementary goods. Both of these are complementary goods. So, what is the nature of elasticity, cross price elasticity, or what is the nature of commodity X and Y? The nature of commodity X and Y is that they are complementary goods. That is the answer. That is what it implies. How do we come to conclude this? The figure we have got is a negative figure. That's why we say when you are calculating cross price elasticity of demand, we don't need to multiply this one by negative 1 because it will take us to being positive and it will show it as if it is a positive figure. That's why we have to leave it like that because it has a concluding information that which is actually needed. So that is what we need. That is what we needed to look at. So that is a cross price elasticity of demand. We have looked at what it is. We have seen what it covers. We have seen what it implies, and we have seen the calculations and how the calculations are carried out and how we conclude from those calculations. And I'm sure it is now very clear, and you can see the difference in the calculations and the conclusions with the price elasticity of demand. When you are calculating it, the price elasticity of demand, we are looking at it being inelastic, being elastic, perfect inelastic, zero, and so on. Unitary. So that's what we concluded. Now with the cross price elasticity of demand, we are seeing another similar but different way of calculating it, and finally looking at the conclusions of the figures which we get. I will still emphasize, please don't ignore price theory. Don't ignore the elasticities. These elasticities we are mentioning, these elasticities we are talking about, we are going to find them in almost every topic of economics which we are going to cover. Even if we come to labor, we shall look at the wage elasticity of labor. We are going to see how this wage, the supply of labor, we are going to see the elasticity, different elasticities of labor, and we see their wages. That labor which has inelastic supply will have high wage, whereas that one which has elastic supply. So elasticity is very, very important in almost every aspect. Even if we come to international trade, we shall look at the commodities that we are producing, and soon we are going to see the fluctuations of these prices of especially agricultural goods as we compare with manufactured goods. And we are going to again mention the word elasticity, and we say these commodities, they have this problem because of the nature of the elasticity. So it is very important you master what we call elasticity. Don't ignore it. Don't say it is a very difficult subject, topic. Me, I will just look at others and leave out this. Still, it is important to emphasize it to every student of economics that economics is interrelated. We talked about it in the introduction, that economics is interrelated. There's no way you can say, I'll spot this topic and forget this. This one is very difficult for me, I leave it out. No, you must understand every topic, because each topic relates to the other topic. You get this topic, you will find linkage with another topic. So there's no one which you say, I'll leave it out. And if you leave it out, that means you are reducing your knowledge of the subject. That is one. And when it comes to answering questions, there are some points that you are leaving out, which you will not be able to explain because they come from that topic which you ignored. From there, we move to another area of elasticity, and this one is called income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity, income elasticity of demand. We normally abbreviate it as income elasticity of demand. That's what we normally consider income elasticity of demand. It's another area that we are supposed to cover under elasticity, which is very, very also crucial and very important in economics. This refers to the degree of responsiveness. Degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a commodity as a result of changes in the income of a consumer. Yes, there are some students who ask, who is a consumer? Anybody who is buying a commodity for consumption or for final use, we say is a consumer. So, you the consumer, who is going to buy a commodity, we say it is the degree, it refers to the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a commodity as a result of changes in the income of the consumer. As your income changes, what happens to the demand of a certain commodity? You consider each commodity and say, now, if my income, which has been, say, 100,000, this is 10,000, but 100,000, if it changes to 150,000, what will be the change in the demand of a commodity? That's what we are looking at. We want to see the relationship. Is there a relationship between the one's income and the relation and the demand for another commodity? If my income increases, how will it have an effect? Which effect will be there for the demand for a certain commodity? And each commodity has its way of changing depending on the income. There are commodities which don't change. The income increases, you don't change their consumption. They remain constant. Another one changes, the demand increases. Another one the income changes, there is a reduction. That is increase. For example, income may increase, demand reduces. Income increases, demand increases. Income increases, no change in demand. And that's what we are looking at. When we look at each category of these commodities, and usually, before we come to that conclusion, you have to calculate and see how is it affected. And that's what we look at in economics. We don't just say, increase the people's incomes. They will increase demand for commodities. No, not necessarily. That's why sometimes when economic policies are made, many people leave questioning. They leave questions in their minds. Why did they increase the incomes of these people? Sometimes the economic planners must look at study these demands. If we increase the incomes of, for example, teachers, which commodities will have increased demand? Which commodities are they going to abandon because of increased income? And that's exactly what we are calculating here. Income elasticity of demand. As your income changes, what will happen to demand? And it is not uniform, it is not standard, but it depends on the nature of the commodity. So, in the same way, we say that even in income elasticity of demand, we do not multiply the figure, the final answer by -1. Why? Because the status of the final figure has a conclusive result as to the nature of the commodity. commodity in question. The nature of the commodity in question. So we don't multiply. We don't multiply by -1 because each concluding figure, if it is negative, it has an implication. If it is positive, it has an implication. So when we calculate, we leave it at that. Many students tend to cram and master this multiplication by -1. So that when they multiply, when they calculate and get the answer as negative, they immediately multiply by -1 to deal with the negative aspect. That applies only in price elasticity of demand. But these others, income elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity of demand, we don't multiply. And that is what we have said, that even in income elasticity of demand, we do not multiply the final answer by -1. Why? Because the status of the final figure has a conclusive result as to the nature of the commodity in question. That is the reason. So if they ask you, why don't you multiply? Because of this answer, which is here. Yes, we are looking at the income elasticity of demand, and we are going to see the conclusive figures. We are going to see the conclusive figures in our in the next